Hello, Niner Faithful. Welcome back to another episode of Voice of a Niner Faithful. I'm your host, Jason, a diehard 49er fan just like you, here to break down all the latest San Francisco 49ers news from the last couple of weeks. We have a pretty packed show today, from a refresher of the blockbuster trade that we all knew happened, but I think it's important to go back over it. Some juicy rumors, of course, to off-season workouts, injury recoveries, and even a 49er wedding. As always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to support the podcast and stay up to date on all things Niners. So let's get started with the biggest headlines rocking the 49ers empire. Like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about the trade that we all knew was coming that happened back in March. I know I said past couple of weeks, but it's important to refresh our memory on this because it deals with going into the draft. So we all know Deebo Samuel is no longer a 49er. After a disappointing 6-11 season, in 2024, our star wideback requested a trade for a fresh start. That makes sense, right? 49ers front office honored that request, and on March 1st, we sent him over to the Commanders in exchange for a fifth-round pick. Hence the draft part that I mentioned. So only a fifth-round pick for the 29-year-old offensive weapon. Yeah, Washington they took on his hefty 2025 salary in full, but the trade does leave the Niners with a significant dead cap hit from prior guarantees, which really in the long run isn't that bad. We all knew we were going to have to pay it, so the Niners knew about that too. Nothing else we could have done about it. Whether he stayed or left, it was going to hit us either way. So why such a modest return for an all-pro talent? Couple of reasons. I'm sure we all know about them. First, Deebo's production dipped in 2024. 51 catches, 670 yards, 4 TDs. His worst full season stats. And he voiced his frustration with his role. Second, his contract had no guaranteed money left for the 2025 season and carried a big cap number, giving him leverage to ask out. By moving him, the 49ers avoided paying a looming bonus and free up future cap space. Remember, I said future cap space. Like I said, we already knew we were going to have to pay him whether he stayed or gone. There was that cap that we were going to take the hit on. So, but this is future cap space that we freed up. John Lynch made it clear the decision, which was mutually respectful. Deebo wanted a new home, and the team obliged. Still, it's kind of bittersweet for us fans. Deebo was a heart and soul player, and it hurts to see him go for so little in return, you know? On the bright side, we can appreciate what Deebo gave us. Countless big plays and a tough blue-collar identity. He'll always be part of the Niners lore. I even have a mini helmet with his signature, which is pretty cool. We wish him luck, except if we meet Washington in the playoffs, of course. Washington's gain is our loss, but the 49ers are clearly retooling for the future. We'll discuss how the team plans to fill Deebo's shoes. Spoiler, Brandon Ayuk now steps up as number 1 receiver, but a bit later. For now, farewell Deebo, and thank you for all the memories. I know, faithful, this one stings. It does. Especially with Deebo's "I like to win" comment in his Washington intro presser. It was kind of a gut punch, implying he didn't believe we were close to a title. But given our off-season moves, it's clear the front office was playing a longer game. Let's trust the process and move forward. It'll be all right. The Brock Purdy extension, it's coming. After a stellar rise from Mr. Irrelevant to franchise quarterback, Purdy is now eligible for his big extension, and negotiations have officially begun. Both ownership and management have been vocal that Brock is the guy moving forward. Team president Jed York even said Purdy's talks have been good, and they're willing to make necessary sacrifices to lock him up long term. John Lynch confirmed at the NFL Combine that discussions are already on the way and ongoing. Here's what we know. Purdy is entering his final year of his rookie deal and is due only about $5.3 million-ish in 2025. Kind of a really small sum for a quarterback who's proven he can win big games. The new contract will not be paltry. It's going to be huge. Reports indicate the 49ers are preparing a blockbuster extension, likely exceeding $50 million per year, to keep Purdy in red and gold for the long haul. That would catapult Brock into the upper echelons of quarterback salaries. Quite the journey from the last pick of the 2022 draft. Now, the timing. Ideally, the team would want this done sooner rather than later. April 22nd marks the start of the 49ers offseason program, Phase 1 of workouts, and Purdy's camp knows it. Kyle Shanahan made it clear he hopes Purdy will not hold out or skip voluntary workouts, even if a deal isn't finalized by then. Quote, "I hope not, and I know Brock doesn't want to do that either," unquote, Shanahan said about the possibility of Purdy missing time. He acknowledged negotiations over so much money can take time, but he's optimistic. Quote, "I believe that we can sign him. Hopefully it won't come into any football stuff." In other words, Shanahan is counting on Purdy being present and leading the offseason program as usual. So far, there's no indication Purdy plans to hold out. By all accounts, Purdy is a team-first guy. He's earned this contract and, of course, wants financial security. But he also wants to keep building the chemistry and momentum with his team. Remember last offseason, Purdy was rehabbing with his elbow injury and missed OTAs. This year, he's healthy and he's surely eager to get to work. The front office, meanwhile, seems determined to get the extension done by late May before OTAs ramp up. One former agent noted that Phase 3 of workouts, May 22nd, could serve as a soft deadline for the deal. Bottom line, no drama is expected. Both sides want to get this done. Purdy wants to be here for a long, long time, to quote Jed York. And the Niners want him leading this franchise into our next Super Bowl window. It's a refreshing change of pace for the 49ers quarterback situation. No controversy, no uncertainty. Just pay the man and let him continue to flourish under Shanahan's guidance. For us fans, it's exciting. We finally have something stable at quarterback, and soon Brock will be under contract for years to come. Of course, a huge quarterback deal has ripple effects, which we're already seeing in how the 49ers are approaching the offseason. The last couple of weeks can't be viewed in isolation. They're part of a larger 49ers offseason plan. It feels like the team has been quiet in free agency, even shed some big names. I'm sure we all know who we shed and where they went. And it's part of the game, part of what happens. The front office is in what I'd call a kind of a retool, recalibrate mode. With Purdy's payday getting closer, the Niners have deliberately scaled back spending and are focusing on getting younger, cheaper, and healthier across the roster, with, of course, the exception of our long snapper. Consider the exodus of veteran starters we've witnessed this spring. By the beginning of April, the list of players let go by the 49ers was eye-opening, including, of course, Debo, Hargrave, Greenlaw, Hufanga, Ward, Aaron Banks, which, by the way, just side note to my Green Bay fans that are my family, you guys paid way too much for him. And Leonard Floyd. That's a collection of Pro Bowlers and key starters on both sides of the ball who are now gone. Talk about a youth movement. The team's essentially decided to rip off the Band-Aid and reset the roster core. Why all the departures? Of course, cap space and durability. Hargrave, our big-ticket defensive tackle signing from 2023, was released as a cap casualty in March. An $84 million experiment cut short to save future money. He quickly signed with Minnesota on a cheaper deal. Linebacker Greenlaw left for Denver in free agency along with Hufanga. Charvarius Ward hit free agency after his contract and moved on. On offense, guard Aaron Banks. Obviously, like I mentioned, he went to Green Bay. Got paid really, really good money for, again, nothing. I'm sorry, Aaron Banks. I don't think you were worth $20 million, which I think is what Green Bay paid you. And as we discussed, the whole Debo was traded. And of course, the off-injured Elijah Mitchell departed, signing with Kansas City on on the first day of free agency. The 49ers essentially trimmed the fat this offseason. They let aging or expensive veterans walk, and they did minimal external spending. Instead, the focus is on getting younger and more athletic heading into 2025. Many open roster spots will be filled via the draft later this month, which, by the way, 2 weeks, actually less than 2 weeks because today's Sunday, I will be at the draft. I'm obviously, I am not a rich person, so I will not be up near the stage where you see him on TV, all the fans like that. I'm doing the draft experience, which is free. So I will be up there. I would be doing some clips and episode from up there while I'm there. Hopefully I'll be able to maybe even chat with some fellow fans and get their reaction on camera and part of the episode. But let's get back to this episode first. The strategy also carries a bonus. Lots of dead money accelerates this year, a self-described recalibration year, which clears the books for 2026 and beyond. Essentially, the Niners are taking their medicine now so they can open a fresh Super Bowl window in a year or two with Purdy under contract and a bunch of young talent around him. Does this mean the 2025 season is a rebuild or write-off? Nah, not so fast. Team still has all its core stars. Bosa's still here. Warner's still here. Ayuk, more on him in a second, is still here. Trent Williams, who's the anchor of the O-line, is still here. George Kittle is still here. Juszczyk is still here. It's more of a reload than a total rebuild. But with expectations should be tempered. Even CEO Jed York hinted that 2025 might involve some short-term pain for long-term gain. The 49ers may not be odds-on Super Bowl favorites this year, but they're positioning to be sustainable contenders once all these young pieces develop. All that said, the team isn't just sitting on its hands. There's still been some rumors, some of the rumor mill buzz about both incoming and outgoing players. On a side note, I don't understand why it's not more of a thing, because I think we are going to do really good this year based on the people we've kept, based on how well our draft went last year. I think they found the recipe. I think they're going to do really good in the draft this year. And the fact that we have a light schedule. What do I mean by light schedule? I mean, pretty much not counting our own division, but even part of that, most of the people we play in this coming year, yeah, we don't know when we played them, but we know who we're playing. We're just as bad last year as our record you would think our record shows. We weren't as horrible as it seemed. There were a lot of extenuating circumstances. So I personally, as a fan, I think we are going to be the NFC West champions. We will make the playoffs, and there's no reason we can't make the Super Bowl. But that's just me. But let's dive into some of the rumors out there. Even amid the cost-conscious offseason, the 49ers have been connected to some interesting trade chatter. The most notable trade buzz recently involved bolstering the pass rush. According to the Bleacher Report analysis, San Francisco could make a push to acquire Bengals All-Pro tight end, or defensive end, Trey Hendrickson. This is from 49ers Web Zone. This rumor, floated by NFL reporter Christopher Knox, suggests the Niners see Hendrickson as an ideal bookend to Nick Bosa. With Leonard Floyd gone, of course, and the edge spot opposite Bosa is wide open, it makes sense the team is exploring the options. What would it cost, though? The report speculated the 49ers might offer some of their draft capital. That makes sense. Maybe the 2 third-round picks. We got 11 picks, so it wouldn't be a total bad thing. And maybe small move up in the first round to entice Cincinnati. Hendrickson is 30 years old and entering his final year of his deal in Cincy. He's coming off an all-pro season and has been frustrated with stalled contract talks with the Bengals. Basically, he wants to get paid for his elite production, and the Bengals appear hesitant. This has other teams like the Niners sniffing around. For the Niners, landing Hendrickson would be a game changer. No question on that. He's racked up double-digit sacks consistently, and his motor fit. It fits the Niners' D style. Imagine a pass rush featuring Bosa and Hendrickson. Quarterbacks would have nowhere to go. Of course, it's just a rumor at this stage, but it is a credible one. Bleacher Report and others aren't just making it up out of thin air. Keep an eye on this as the NFL draft approaches. If the Niners are going to make a splash trade, it could happen around draft time. And remember, John Lynch has a history of mid-off-season surprises when the price is right. But right there is where the catch is, the price. It's not just trading draft capital, because Hendrickson is going to want to get paid. We just did all of this stuff so we can pay Brock Purdy. And we're still going to pay George Kittle. Maybe, and it could be, we could pay Warner this year too, even though he still has 2 more years on his contract. I think it would be a wise decision to pay Warner. And Juwan Jennings, we don't want to lose him. We got to pay him. So I don't know. It's a good idea, credible one, but are we really going to do it? Another big rumor is, of course, the whole Brandon Ayuk thing. I know, I'm getting there. There was a speculation that the 49ers were shopping Ayuk earlier this offseason, which some fans were a little panicked about. Here's the scoop on that. Ayuk signed a contract extension last year, and due to its structure, he was owed a massive $22.8 million roster bonus on April 1st. And that was just for 2025. He was also due for his 2026 bonus at the same time. Coming off a knee injury, we'll update that in a moment. Some in the media thought the 49ers might try to trade Ayuk before his bonus hit, especially a way to get out of the contract if he had buyer's remorse. If the Niners had buyer's remorse. We all know ESPN's Adam Schefter. He fueled this on the Pat McAfee show, saying the 49ers were open to listening on just about anybody given their financial crunch, specifically mentioning that if a team was willing to take on Ayuk's contract, the Niners would absolutely listen. Now, think about that for a minute. That's just fluff talk. Of course the Niners are going to listen. Any team would listen about any player. The Vikings would listen for Justin Jefferson. Any other team would listen for their star players. Just listening isn't going to do anything, though. Sure, if someone wants to give 3 first-round picks for somebody, yeah, I'd probably do it too. But listening is different from actually doing. It's okay to listen. April 1st, of course, is come and gone. And Brandon Aiyuk is still a 49er, bonus paid and all. Lynch publicly confirmed that they weren't going to trade Aiyuk. The rumored shopping never materialized into a deal, and frankly, after sending Debo away, the team needs Aiyuk for 2025. He's the top receiver on the roster now. Yes, his contract is hefty, and the front office may indeed be uneasy about paying an injured player so much. But the focus now is on helping Aiyuk get back to 100% and hoping he rewards the team's faith with elite play. For fans, it's a relief. Trading Aiyuk would have signaled a full teardown. Keeping him means the offense still has that dynamic weapon on the outside for Purdy to throw to. Beyond the two big names, there aren't a whole ton of other rumors going around. One wild suggestion from an ESPN analyst was a hypothetical Brock Purdy for TJ Watt trade, but don't worry, that was more imagination off-season chatter than anything else. The 49ers have also been linked to various draft trade scenarios, likely possibly trading back from pick 11 to accumulate more picks, or even trading up if a particular target falls. If a target like Membu fell close enough, I think that would be worth going up to get. By the way, just my idea. In summary, keep your eyes on the whole Hendrickson situation and rest easy that Aiyuk isn't going anywhere. But speaking of Aiyuk, it's time for a good segment. Brandon Aiyuk gets married. That's right. Amidst all the 49er football buzz, one of the 49ers had a major life event. Brandon Aiyuk tied the knot with his longtime girlfriend in a very beautiful ceremony on Saturday, April 12th. Congratulations to the Aiyuk family. This is the kind of off-season news we all love to see. Our players thriving off the field. Several teams, including teammates, including Kyle Juszczyk and others, were spotted celebrating with Brandon and his new wife at the wedding reception. The 49ers brotherhood runs really deep. Perhaps the best part of the 49ers for the 49ers fans was a viral video from the wedding. I'm sure you can find it out there. I'm sure somebody put it on YouTube or TikTok or something. Of Aiyuk with his young son, Braylon, skipping down the aisle together ahead of the ceremony. It was an adorable father-son moment and also an encouraging sign for Aiyuk's injury recovery. Remember, he suffered a season-ending right knee injury last October 20th, ACL and MCL, on a hit versus Kansas City. He had the surgery in early November and has been rehabbing for months. To see him literally skipping and dancing, even lightly, it had to have brought a huge smile to every 49er fan's face. It sure looks like his knee is coming along pretty well. So what's the latest on Aiyuk's recovery timeline? At the NFL owners meeting at the end of March, John Lynch provided an update to the team is pleased with where Aiyuk is in his rehab. Lynch reported that Aiyuk has been working hard and got great reviews from Dr. Neil Elatrosh, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, the renowned surgeon who oversaw his procedure. This was a critical checkpoint in his rehab, and Aiyuk passed with flying colors. He did very well, Lynch said. However, Lynch wouldn't be, of course, he can't say, so there's no specific timeline publicly. Smart. No need to create pressure. Unofficially, there are a few perspectives out there. One sports medicine doctor on social media analyzed the wedding video and noted that week 1 of the 2025 season would be roughly 9 months and 3 weeks post-surgery, within the typical window for an ACL-MCL return. There is optimism that Aiyuk could be ready for week 1 if all continues to go smoothly. On the other hand, ESPN's Adam Schefter has suggested mid-season 2025 might be a more realistic target for Aiyuk's full return given the double ligament injury. The truth is, recovery can vary from person to person, so who knows? Personal guess, week 5 return. Give him those first 4 weeks put him on the PUP list. If you put him on the PUP list before the beginning of the season, he has to miss the first 4 games. I think that's fair. I think that gives him, you're not rushing him back, and he'll have some practice under him. I think it'll work out better that way. But you never know. He could be there for week 1. He could be there in the middle of the season. We'll see. But from what we've seen and heard, Aiyuk is ahead of schedule. The wedding video showed a guy who looks confident on that knee. He may not participate in the early OTA drills. No need to rush. But training camp and early season action is definitely on the table. 49ers won't rush him. Aiyuk is a cornerstone of the future, and they want him 100% before he hits the field. In the meantime, he'll continue rehab and conditioning. And now that he's a newlywed, he's probably feeling extra motivated and positive vibes. One more angle here, though. Some fans worried whether the trade rumors would sour Aiyuk's relationship with the team. Yeah, it's a fair concern. Imagine seeing your name floated in trade talks when you're injured. But those rumors were put to rest when Lynch stated flat out Aiyuk would not be traded. The front office is publicly in his corner, and all focuses on his supporting his comeback. If anything, Brandon can use that as fuel. He's always played with a chip on his shoulder, and I expect he'll come back hungry to prove that he's worth every penny of that contract. From all of us at this show, which us just means me, congrats, Brandon, and we can't wait to see you ball out as a married man. Again, just for me, and I am a married man. So, congrats, Brandon Aiyuk. Off-season workouts and injury roundup. With players set to report back soon, let's touch on the off-season workout schedule and how the roster is shaping up health-wise. The 49ers official off-season program kicks off April 22nd. That's when voluntary workouts begin, mostly strength conditioning and rehab work initially. Given all the roster changes, these workouts will feature a lot of the new faces and young players. New defensive coordinator and old defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh, welcome back. We'll get his first look at the revamped defense. Yes, in case you missed it, Saleh did return to the 49ers as defensive coordinator after his stint as the Jets head coach. He got screwed by the Jets, by the way, I think. He inherits a unit that, as mentioned, lost 6 starters and will be leaning on draft picks and unproven guys. Saleh is one of the best in the business, though, and we've all seen that. So we're all optimistic he can coach up the young players. But it's a storyline to watch. This offseason program will be crucial for installing schemes and evaluating who can step up to those vacant roles. On offense, Shanahan will be working with a new-look receiver room, no Debo, Aiyuk rehabbing, and monitoring. Wow, I can't read today. The offensive line will likely have a competition at right guard or maybe right tackle, who knows. One quiet addition, the Niners signed a couple of depth wideouts in free agency, presumably to compete with the wide receiver 3, 4, and 4 spots to help on special teams. And at running back with Elijah Mitchell gone, especially some of the younger running backs that we might pick up. Hopefully they'll get more reps during the off-season program and during the OTAs and all that behind Christian McCaffrey. In terms of player workouts outside the team facility, many Niners have been posting their off-season grind on social media. Nick Bosa, for example, is surely down in Florida doing his legendary workout regime. If you haven't seen Bosa training videos, they're insane, man. The man is a machine. Quarterback Brock Purdy even organized throwing sessions back in January with some young receivers like Ricky Pearsall to keep timing sharp. And George Kittle is keeping himself in peak shape. Maybe even another tight end U summit later this offseason. That would be awesome. The vibe is that the team, while retooling, still has a strong work ethic. Injury-wise, the good news is that aside from Aiyuk, the 49ers don't have too many key players coming off of major injuries. Last year was mercifully kinder to us than some prior years. I'm sure we all remember some of those. Quarterback Purdy is fully healthy now. Remember, last offseason was about his elbow rehab. That's in the past. Star left tackle Trent Williams battled some aches in 2024, but nothing requiring surgery that we know of. A healthy offseason for Trent could have him primed for another All-Pro year at age 36. Defensive tackle is a area that we definitely need to make sure that we address in the draft, and hopefully we won't pick any injury-prone people in that, or even with any other position, but we definitely need defensive tackle. The team did sign safety Richie Grant and Jason Pinnock as depth, which indicates they're covering themselves for that position, because Jair Brown, he didn't have his greatest year. I mean, he could have done a little better toward the end of the year last year. Maybe that's why they got these two guys to kind of push Brown. But I think that'll work out. And those guys, as far as I understand, are not injured. One more rehab to note. Sam Womack had a season-ending injury last year. He'll be working out and hopefully back for the team that he went to. It's too bad that he's not. I think he could have done better for us, but those things happen. I think it was important to mention Womack. He did some good stuff. And our kicker, Jake Moody, his late season injury, he should be 100% by now, but they're gonna put a veteran there. They're gonna pick up a veteran and give him some motivation to do better. Overall, the 49ers seem to be entering workouts relatively healthy, knock on wood. The biggest name on the rehab report is Aiyuk, and we've covered how well he's doing, especially everyone else from Bosa to CMC to Kittle will use the offseason to fine-tune and get on the same page with his teammates. And, of course, I didn't mention CMC in any of the injury-wise. He's doing awesome now. So I see a huge and great season for him. It's been an eventful 2 weeks and off-season so far for the Niners. We've said goodbye to Samuel. We're anticipating a record-breaking deal for Brock Purdy. We navigated through some trade rumors, hello and goodbye, Aiyuk gossip, and we celebrated Brandon Aiyuk's wedding, of course, and cheering on his road to recovery. 49ers are in a bit of a transition, no doubt, but there's plenty of reason for optimism. A youth infusion, a top-notch coaching staff, welcome back Saleh, and the steady hand of Kyle Shanahan at the helm. It's a recipe for long-term success. As a passionate Niner fan, I'm excited and a little bit nervous to see how 2025 unfolds. Change can be tough, seeing as so many familiar faces departed. It's bittersweet. But I trust the franchise's vision. They're keeping the core that really matters and betting on a smart drafting and development. If things break right, say Aiyuk returns early, a couple of rookies make an instant impact, and Purdy takes another step forward, this could still be a very dangerous team, and I think it will. Like I said, I think they're going to make the playoffs. But if not, we're positioning ourselves to come back even stronger the following year. One thing's for sure, we'll have lots to talk about in the coming weeks. The NFL draft is just around the corner, and like I mentioned earlier, I will be there. And the 49ers might have a surprise or two up their sleeves. Who knows? Will they trade up, trade down, snag the next great offensive lineman or corner? We'll cover all that in future episodes. For now, Faithful, take a breath and embrace the new direction of our team. Thank you for listening to another episode of Voice of Niner Faithful. If you've enjoyed this comprehensive update, please like this episode, leave a comment, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the podcast, either here or on YouTube or on TikTok or wherever else you're seeing this particular podcast. Your support means the world. It keeps me going through the off-season oddness and slowness. This is a good way to keep up to date. We'll be back soon with more insider news, fan reactions, and everything 49ers. Until next time, go Niners and stay faithful.